Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Kayfa halik, brothers and sisters, peace and blessings, and keep up the lessons. This is your brother Taalib from the Brother Taalib Show, your friendly neighborhood Muslim. Yes, again, with another subject, which falls into the area and segment of Islam, of course. And, due to this is a main focus and a video or this area of my segments that I do, which is the faith segment, the finance segment, and finance and money segment, and health, which I've done maybe a few videos in health, but or based on health, talking about health. But this one is specifically Islam. So today, this afternoon, I'm going to be touching base on a subject matter that deals with Islam. So this is more dedicated to Muslim brothers and sisters that are my viewers and audience. So basically, and for those of you who choose to want to watch that are not Muslim, and you're interested in knowing about what we're speaking and what I'm talking about, that's fine. You can watch the video and get the benefit from it too. If any questions, comment in this. Well, besides comments, make sure you hit the link, the like button, share the video, and subscribe if you're not subscribed to, and use the bell so you can get notifications from my videos, because I come and I do more videos and I have other videos that can benefit you as well as myself, because everything that I have that I put out there is something that I'm going to put out for benefit, something you're going to learn from, something you can use and help you with, because it's helped me with. So I only get, well, I'm like a influencer. I pass off, give, and any of things that I learn, I try to give you a good influence and example by that which I've learned. So that's what I do in my videos. But basically, the point to this video, what is the topic? The topic pretty much today is making hijrah. It's based on making hijrah. So it is, why is it important to leave the non-Muslim lands and migrate to the Muslim lands? And within that, it has to deal with basically what lands to go to and like this. And I'm going to speak on those issues. Also, this is a video that I was inspired by a close brother that I know that mentioned to me when I was sending out a video that was about Hijrah, of course, and it was from one of the major scholars of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, as we know, and one of the muhaddith of our time, well-known scholar known by the name of Sheikh Al-Albani, rahimahullah. He did a talk, or he was doing a talk, and there was a questioner that asked him about hijrah, or making migration and like this to the Muslim lands, or what was the position, what was his position, and so forth. So he spoke on it. He brought proofs and evidences from hadith, of course, him being a hadith scholar. And alhamdulillah, was a benefit. So I sent it and I posted it in Facebook. So those who saw it were able to gather from it, get some benefit. And it was some stuff that might have touched people in different types of ways, depending on how they took it. And for me, what I mentioned in the comment along with it is that, we have to really be real with ourselves. We're here, right? And a lot of us, from the brothers and sisters that I know, from close friends and family, of the Muslim family, friends and family that I know that are Muslim, how they've been here, and for me, knowing them personally, or those brothers and sisters that know their situation, that you have not left this country, even to make Hajj or Umrah, and you've had the means, and there was no restrictions that are known in the Islamic Sharia, or known by the people of ilm, Ahlul Ilm, that this is this is an exception to you, which is incumbent upon us to make hijrah from the non-Muslim lands to the Muslim lands. in accordance to what the Sheikh Al-Albani brought, him alone, and not even mentioning the other ulama or the other scholars that bring the same consensus, the same ijma of removing yourself from the non-Muslim lands, and even especially not coming here. And then for us, those of us who've left, like myself, alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me, mashallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, me and my family to had made, well, we made intentions to make hijrah, but the hijrah wasn't finalized, is to say, because due to the ways that the countries and the Muslim lands are with their policies and with their, when it comes to making hijrah, when it comes to a person now residing in your country, now what are your rules that you have? Are you going to allow them to have residency and citizenship? But if you have rules and policy that doesn't allow this to happen, then the people, according to the Sharia and the rulings of the ulama in relations to this, that your hijrah may not be accepted because their policies do not accept people of hijrah, muhajir. They don't have muhajir policy in their lands. And this is an unfortunate situation. That is kind of changing a little bit. In some countries, they do give you this, and especially in Africa, And being that on that point for this, let's keep it real. Brother Taalib keeps it real. I try to keep it real. I'm not a nationalist. I am Muslim upon Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. I am a Sunni Salafi, if you want to put into that terms and category, upon this way, the way of the Salaf Salih. But I'm in between and on a balanced level. I know, and I've been through the dawah, been through dawah to Salafiyah, been through all these different things in Ahlul Sunnah, and know what's clear, to what I should be upon. And to be upon the Tariq al-Salaf is with balance. Is with balance. I'm not either too extreme on this side or off it because of my understanding in the way I apply my deen. The way I apply my deen has to be with dalil, of course. And the way I apply my deen has to be from, the dalil comes from the people who have ilm, who have knowledge. And that I follow from their guidelines. And if they say this, that way, this way, or not that way, this way, then alhamdulillah, because this is what this is the guidelines that Allah and His Messenger said. This is the guidelines what Allah's messengers had said and left for us to know. Obey those in authority over you, and if you can't, then you obey Allah and His messenger. Then you leave it. You go to Allah and take from what Allah and His messengers say. But only that when it says authority, the knowledge, when it comes to knowledge and how we're supposed to live and follow our deen and understanding it, is from the people of ilm. So that's where I'm at. And if they say, oh, don't speak about your people because you're going to become a nationalist, and they don't say it to that extent, just so vaguely. There's clarity, there's detailed clarity and knowledge in how you deal with when it comes to your nation of people. So just to make that clear, when I do this in my videos and I bring about to make known that I am an African American Muslim, from my father's side being African American, and my mother's side a lot of African traits. I haven't even did my DNA, but I have history from my mother's side to know my African traits of descendancy is from Africa, because she brought her history from her tree of her family tree for that. And I didn't have to do my DNA on that level if I choose not to. But basically, that's something different and something in my personal life. But just so you know, but I do want to bring the clarity of our situation for African Americans in America. And I'm not even speaking about the other African diasporans, meaning the other African descendants that are in different countries like UK and the Caribbean and different parts of the world, especially Europe and in the West. So that coming to Africa, going back to Africa, of course, after all these years and from slavery on down to all the oppression that's gone into these lands with us here, especially African Americans, and still going on, that is even more incumbent for us to make hijrah, let alone from the Islamic positions, let alone from the Islamic, which don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Islamic positions ain't important. They're the most important, and then let alone down the line when it comes to our life and being safe, and our family and our children having some good, stronger, or a little bit of mental stability because they're not traumatized most of their life while they're living in their environment, such as this environment. So that's the point. So basically, we should be striving. We should be dealing with our issue, and that's the first point. We must let me get into the first point. We must make a hijrah from within, in here, but first it starts in the qalb, in the heart. And this is from the ulama. This is from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is mentioned and it's clear hadiths and that support and proofs that the ulama bring that the main hijrah or a major hijrah part of hijrah is making it from within and from that which Allah is not pleased with. And when you do that, you can know where you're living in your environment, that goes along with that as well. Just looking in your surrounding. When you come out your house, especially. When in your house, most of us as Muslims, we have Islamic, households, and we try to. Some Muslims are not. Let's keep it real. Some Muslims have some stuff going on that is not permissible in their homes and doing things. And Allah knows best our weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. We all have wrongs. And may Allah guide us, Allahumma ameen, and forgive us for that which we partake in that we shouldn't be partaking, that Allah is pleased with in our own homes, let alone outside the home in America. Again, I'm talking about America. African American Muslims, or even Hispanic American Muslims, Hispanic American Muslims, people of color Muslims. Because if you're not of a color of the race of African descendant or Hispanic or Latino descendancy, then you're in a different bracket of ease in this country. Just because due to your color, because this country is produced by systematic racism. It's been built up on that. That's its build. You understand? Did not get into that too much, but basically, it's important for us to do this first, and then secondly, really thinking out, seriously, our situation, our personal situation, what is going on, whether it's dealing with, our finance. That's one big thing. Are we able to afford to leave? That's one of my things. Being a person returning from trying to make hijrah, and then coming back to this land and into this environment and bringing my children, especially my younger children here, let alone my stepchildren. And that's a whole another stories where everybody, everybody has a struggle. And when people come back, the struggles that the people go through with their children is horrendous. And it's sad. And it's some very sad situations that have come about. And that's one of the things that we got to look into, because your children is your future. Are you going to be held accountable? You bringing them back here, and that your children are going to be led astray because of the environment that produces the types of influences, negative, sinful, haram-like influences in this country. And I don't even have to go into details, because remember, this is YouTube, so we don't want to be censored. But and sometimes I speak on certain things. I might mention certain things in my video, but I don't want them to be thinking, and then they're going to stop this production of moving forth the word that needs to go forth that we need to know. Because I'm just one of the many YouTuber influencers that trying to put these words out. We have our brothers, our good brothers, and give shout out to them. Brother Abu Mansour Umar from the Make Hijrah channel, and the brother Hamza from UK. That these brothers spent time in Egypt. They lived in Egypt. I met Umar in Egypt myself. Mashallah, tabaraka wa ta'ala, hafithullah. And this brother's done a lot of works in this area. besides his regular skill set that he deals with when it comes to technology and dealing with IT technology and all that type of stuff. This brother is, mashallah, has been always on the job, and may Allah reward him, Ameen, for doing it. And Hamza came to know him through the channel, and alhamdulillah, the brother gives some benefit too. And look into their channel, Hijrah, Make Hijrah channel, on the YouTube. I'll try to post it in the description so that you can look into, because for some of you who, even like the brother who kind of inspired me to do this video, ask these types of questions of examples, bringing examples of places to go and a whole lot of different information. These brothers bring different videos that kind of bring people that they interviewed. It brings a lot of that information out, and what goes on in certain countries that these people, brothers and sisters that have been interviewed, had experienced, and they asked them questions to help, so to fill the gaps of people's knowledge, not knowing of what's going on in these Muslim lands that they have made hijrah to, or they tried to make hijrah to, or they lived there before and left that country and went to another Muslim land. So this, like this, inshallah. So basically, get to the point again. After realizing, and you, with your situation residing besides the finance, looking into the pros and cons that are here, balancing them. Of course, it cannot be balanced over the Muslim lands. The non-Muslim cons, whether they might have a good amount of pros too, but the cons are heavier in weight when it comes to what's displeasing to Allah. What's displeasing to Allah, because ultimately hijrah is not for just us, it's for Allah and His Messenger. And this is mentioned by the ulama and clarified in through proofs of hadith and like this. So we gotta be mindful to that aspect when it comes to being aware of our situation, our medical situation. That's where exceptions may come in, due to what is your medical issue. Is your medical issue in a position where you cannot leave at all and live and reside in a Muslim land and receive the medical attention or the medical assistance or what have you that you need? Are you doing things that you need to do to put your health in a position where you can go abroad and you will not be affected by leaving here, the land of the non-Muslims, what you've been doing, what you was doing as far as your way of helping your health, whether it's from medical specialists, doctors, and so forth, or whether it's holistic, you was doing this on your own, and you can take that and take it over there, which country you're going to, that's going to be conducive to your life and your health, as well as the finance, and well as that the other things that you're going to have as factors of why you're going to live there and what you need to. First, of course, is Islam. That's another thing too. We don't think, like, for instance, we're not, as far as Ahlul Sunnah, we're not going to make hijrah to Iran, because then we're putting ourselves into harm's way, because Iran is a predominantly Shia run Muslim country. And for Ahlul Sunnah, for Sunnis, there's a dissension that has been due to the following and the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his Sunnah. They, as far as we know, and you don't want to get into the whole thing of the past and the knowledge of where the Shia deviated from the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his Sunnah. So those Sunni that we follow, Sunnis follow the path of the Salaf. They follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we clearly stay strong to that. And we're not going to be living in a land that is predominantly deviant, because there's going to be a hardship. There's going to be problems. There may be problems that can be detriment to your life, even, that the people will harm you and try to take your life. This is how crazy it's gotten. But that's that factor. And then after realizing that the detriment and how important it is, from leaving here, and then even to not even come here or to return here, unless you really, really need to. Like I said, exceptions have to be clear, because Allah is al-alim. he's all knowing. He knows what our issue is in our situation. We can try to bring whatever we want to bring. We can do fatawa shopping and all this like they used to say. I don't like to use that, but because we don't want to make fatawa seem like it's something unserious. It's very serious. But people do actually look for things to be able to give exceptions to their situation, and they try to fit it. Let's keep it real. Me, I said let's meaning me as well. That's why I want out of here. But Allah is the last word. Allah is is the one who is control over me and over my life. I can't move unless Allah allows me to move. I don't have that risk, because that's the main thing that's holding me back, is only when Allah allows the risk to come. So I have to be patient, and that's what I'm trying to do: strive and struggle and go through the cracks and crevices, maneuver myself, avoid harm for me and my family. It's difficult. So basically, we got to really look into this and know and think it really through. To think it through and put it on paper. See, look at this book. See this book right here? This is my book for Hijrah. And what I would do when it comes to making Hijrah, as far as in relation to finance, which would be finance and business. So up under the Hijrah umbrella would be finance and business. And this is what I did is I outline. This is what I do when I write. And I write all kinds of ideas of what I'm going to take. Even I got scrap paper of stuff that I'm putting and compiling and keeping this book to put together. And I have another book that I'm going to compile and put everything together once I'm on my last end or final draft, if you want to call it, and then put it down and even print it off so that I know when I give it to my family in the meetings. That's another thing. You want to sit down and have family meetings, because if you have family, you have to include them. Trust me, that's to not even get into the details of it all because of the time, but it's very important to include your family, your wives, and your children. Now, you have the last word. As a man and the leader and the shepherd of your family, you have the last word, of course. Because you're protecting them. You're the leader of them. You're the Amir. And I am myself and mine. So you have to make certain maneuvers that's going to be conducive to them. And they're not going to be excluded in knowing what's going on. But as far as saying, okay, no, we're going here and we're going here, that's what it is, because Allah says this. Not the fact of me as a man or you as a man, but that's what Allah says and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the women and the sisters that don't understand this, that are listening to this video, you need to find out and find out about it, about when it comes to Hijrah or when it comes to a man's position in that aspect. That you have to understand what your position is. And you cannot come out of your position. That's a problem in this society, as well as one of the bad influences, is that mankind, we don't know our position in life. We go all outside, all crazy, different directions of positions. We don't even know whether we're a man or a woman. Not even to get the details what I mean. You know what I mean. So basically, we have to look into that. We have to look into that. We have a responsibility that lies with Allah and His Messenger, following Allah's words in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and adhering to that, submitna wa ata'na, wa ata'na. If I, forgive me if I mispronounce it, because my Arabic is still weak sometimes, especially stuff that I haven't regularly fluently mentioned off my tongue, because that is not my native tongue. So as a Muslim, you want to learn the Arabic. This is very important. And that's another thing, being here. It's not an Arabic speaking country. This is an English speaking country. And, in order for you to learn Arabic well, it's better to be out of here. That's one thing. There's a lot of different details on that too. And there's even books. There's even people who went and spoke about it. But when you engulf yourself in a place where that's where it is, that's the land, that's the language of the land, it's more prevalent for you to learn. You can learn it here. You can take courses. You have, different courses take here with different institutional mehhabs, centers of learning Arabic language. Now you got online, but it's more prevalent when you're in the land and they're speaking it, and every day, daily, you're going around like I did in Egypt that I miss, and it comes to you naturally. So some of my words, back to what I'm saying is might be not fully, with the proper tajweed or the proper pronunciation of the Arabic. So forgive me for that. So basically, to finish up, like now, which countries, like the brother had brought, saying, bringing examples. Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward him. I mean, without mentioning his name, because I don't know if he give you the permission to mention his name. So, but pretty much when it comes to dealing with, forgive me if this video stopped. So I will continue on with the rest of this video. But inshallah, forgive me, and that my like I mentioned before, my equipment is old and faulty, and then due to me getting a lot more videos out, maybe inshallah receive more views and more of a chance and opportunity to monetize my videos to gain some revenue from them, and I could take that revenue and buy better equipment, and as an extra stream of income besides my regular primary income that goes to maintaining my family and home life and savings. So basically, what I was saying, the different countries. My main country that I've chosen, I've started when I was trying to make Hijrah, to go back to make Hijrah. Started thinking about the places to go to and this and like this. Spoken to my family every now and then. We haven't had official meetings together as a group because I have, more than one wife. So, of course, I can't just be in one household and just, speak to one. So, of course, they all got to come together. So we will all meet. And then, I have my children there, which is the only children I have with me now is my two youngest children. So basically sit down and stuff. And then, like I said, using your book, using all the knowledge that you have, that you put together, other things in your situation and the needs that you have when you make this hijrah, when you leave, because you have to take a lot of these factors into consideration, But again, back to the point to close out soon with the video. Morocco, first it was Gambia, and then due to other issues, things that came about, and take into consideration this, that when you go to these lands, they have their issues there. None of these lands are perfect and perfect Muslims and likes of this. But you have to take into consideration according to your liking, according to what's conducive to you. First, Islam, your faith, that you're able to practice your faith, you're able to learn and gain more knowledge about your faith, because that's incumbent upon us. And then your home life, living and having a home, having land, ownership of land, which is better than what we do today in these countries like this, renting and stuff like that, where you are making somebody rich while you have no ownership and no main control over where you live. And they can tell you to leave if they wanted to, or if they lose the property, they change it over to a new person, and then they might get, if whatever within the guidelines of the codes or whatever, or rights they may have, to remove you from the property. You don't know. So, but if you own your own land, you have more rights, you have more control over that. So basically, and then you can do things like growing your own food, having animals, livestock, and raising your own animals that you may partake from for your food consumption. So it's very areas that fall into that, and so much that there's so many different breakdowns of what falls under us making the hijrah. So then, of course, your finance, how you're going to maintain yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to make sure you are able to maintain yourself and your family with the finances that you receive, whether there's going to be online types of work, which is good and very, very convenient for a lot of brothers and sisters, or mainly the man, who is residing from the country that they're native to, and that's where they made their first initial way of making a financial salary, where they was able to take care of and maintain, their family, themselves first, probably when they got their first job, and then their family. And then if it wasn't a job, it was a business. So the same thing, you can carry your business abroad and you can maneuver it to that country and be able to still have that business function and even get better and expand and grow. This is the what you want to take into consideration. You want to think about. You want to write down, make plans. Discuss with your family. And so for me, got to the point, Gambia was kind of getting to a low on that because of the certain things that was going on without getting into details. And I can, if you want, you can DM me and ask questions and in the comment section, and I can expound a little bit more on Gambia's the cons. Let's just say that led me to go other than, and then Morocco is the place that I now are focused on and making plans and trying to get more knowledge about, so I know what's going to take place for me, what I need to have, what I need to do, how to make certain maneuvers even before I go there. And that's another thing. You want to prepare as though you're on the ground doing everything to the best of your ability, and with the likes and the tools of the technology that we have today, which is online, searching, global searching, Google, and the likes of these different areas where you can gain a lot of knowledge, or you get into information social media groups, like I am myself in WhatsApp, and we have a WhatsApp group, and you basically are able to get questions asked, answered. You can ask questions, but you can get them answered by brothers that are actually on the ground, living there, or have lived there, and they know the policy and the processes that go on in that land or Morocco. So this is what you need to do. So that's what I've been doing for Morocco, and due to what I've come to find, it fits my situation better for me. And I believe this, and I've done my research. I've learned what I went through when I lived in Egypt for almost 8 years, and learned how these countries are in a synonymous way with each other, because it's African, for number one, a Muslim African country, or Arab Republic country like type of thing, that they have Arabic language, and maybe have a second point of colloquial language that they speak with that Arabic, like Morocco. But Egypt has their slang of the Arabic language, and it's not they don't mostly really speak the what do you call the classical Arabic, which we know in the Quran, or we can say Quranic Arabic, Fusha. They speak Amiya, which is like a slangish type of form of Arabic that has mixtures of other words, even from English and French, or Latin mixed with Arabic words. So basically, these countries, that's the first thing, is their language, and their culture is has an Arabian influence of culture because of the Arabs coming into these lands and Islam coming in with them, and all that. They carried that with them, their culture, their ways, their traditions, and it derived to be what it is now today. So you find that there, but they're synonymous in most of the West African, most of the, you say even the North African to the West African countries. As far as South Africa and Central Africa, there's Muslims in these different areas, parts of the African continent, but they're not like those countries, most of them. Okay, but I'm speaking on Africa as a whole, the continent. Why? And that's outside of, and I said because Morocco is in North Africa, but that's outside the Khaliji countries, the countries where we're known, is well known for the Arabs and the Arabian people, and it's like even Yemen and stuff like that. But they have different situations that may not be conducive to Hijrah, because unfortunately, and not to put down my brothers and our sisters of those lands and their governments and whatever, but they don't, and this is just a reality, they don't have a muhajir policy or muhajir friendly policy, if we want to say it that way, that is geared to helping the muhajir make the process and transition of hijrah into their land along with their rules and regulations. They don't have this, so it's unfortunate. And inshallah, someday they will. I heard a little bit with Saudi. They was doing something with a green card at one point, and I haven't heard any more up to date news of what's going on with that. Something to the like almost how America does for immigration, and before you can get citizenship, you have to go through that process and getting a green card and the likes of this. So, but and remain in the country for a certain amount of time, work in the country, do certain things that fall under the requirements, and eventually will qualify you to become a citizen of America. But I'm not sure what's going on with Saudi at this point in time. And this pandemic has pushed back a lot of policies of the countries and the likes of this. So it's a struggling time. May Allah make it easy for us in relation to that. But back to the point, we got to look into what's important for us when it comes to making this maneuver. It's very important. And Morocco felt good for me again with that which was conducive to me, even the education, and the development is very important too. Seeing how developed the country is, because if you're bringing your children and your family, your wives out of a country, and you got to understand, even in the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ with the women, that, and this becomes, and it has, and I've learned has become an issue, that the women, it's mentioned that the woman, when you marry them, you want to be able to continue what they're accustomed to, what they grew up with, and what they was used to, because it's difficult for them when it's not. When you take them out of that which they're accustomed to and put them into an environment or a living with you and spending your time in life with you in a condition that they are not conducive to or used to, it becomes an issue. Trust me. So you want to make it better for them. You want to make it easier for them. You want to make them happy. That's part of your job as a Muslim man, husband, and vice versa, for her to do the same to you, to please you. And if you're pleasing each other, you're pleasing Allah. Not to say you pleasing your wife, that you letting her do what she wants, or you giving her anything, and it's stuff that is not permissible or not even likable to Allah. Of course, no, we don't do that. That's from our deen. We know better. We should not be doing anything that's going to be displeasing to Allah, but you want to please your family with, because they think it's a good thing or it's okay, and then, so basically, no, we're not doing that, and we shouldn't be doing that. But the point is that which of their living that they're used to, you try to bring them into that environment to the best of that ability. Not to an environment that's going to have conducive sin in it neither, but to an environment that's going to have where they have their needs. Let's say the women are used to being able to get a certain type of food, and they can't get it anymore when they leave their land. And you try your best to find a place to be in there, a place that they make that out of the market that might be in your locale, and you try to bring them there so they'll be happy. I can get that. I can purchase this. This I can have this still again, because it helps them deal with their transition. To putting them in a position where they living in an environment where they don't have to worry about a more downside or a downtrodden living neither, because most women, most men even, this is not satisfactory to them. And that's why you see a lot of people flocking to the West, and people who still stay in the West, brothers and sisters, because they don't want to go to areas where they feel, oh man, I ain't going to be able to do this. I ain't going to be able to get that. I ain't going to be able to get my McDonald's. I ain't going to be able to, ride through and go to my Starbucks like I want and do my cruise and see the lights and all the glitz and glamour. that America produces. And it's a law. The majority is illusions, because on the back, in the back of everything, and the negatives that happen, that come about, that you see on the news, whoa, whoa, this place is. And I can say that so many times, but it goes through one ear and goes out the other for some. So anyway, basically, to come into finishing up, because this video has gone a little long, and I had to, and I knew I was going to go long, because of this, the depth of this subject matter is very serious. So for the brother who asked for examples, I said Morocco for me. I can give more details on things, but you have, of course, the time of the video, and then like this. And I can speak a little bit more. And if you want to go and dialogue personally, we can try to touch base, whether we get it on, do it in texting, or we do it by phone. In relation to Morocco and Gambia, again, the negatives that were there due to, I could say this, that at one point with Gambia, there was more Islamic presence there. There's presence, still presence. It's a Muslim country, basically, but predominantly, and they still have Islam functioning in their country. But there was more when they had the other president there, and now the president they have there is more freedom and a so-called democracy and type of influence of how the West, is, and free going, and those things are going on. Like, one of the things, and I hate to mention about the errors of the Muslims, but marijuana is something that's legalized and becoming legalized around the world, let alone in America. And there they have people who are legislating, or not in legislation, not in government. No, don't get me wrong now. I'm not stating that. But that there's people who are trying to get in government that, of belief that they have this, as this is okay because of their belief, like the Rasta and stuff like that. And there's a big movement. Not a big movement. It's a quiet movement, to say, is to give an example there, but it is a movement. And it slowly creeps up and it creeps up into the public eye, and the Rastafarian movement in Gambia. Okay, everybody has their own belief, and people in these Muslim countries, still, they may have different beliefs. They have Christians there as well as Muslims, of course. Muslims are the predominant, population, but that's going on, and you have ulema more on the lines of student of knowledge, students of knowledge that are there, and there's not a lot of them. So you have a lot more students that we know under Sheikh Lau, which was a major scholar from Africa that we've known of, in Senegal, and that borders Gambia. So Senegal is another country to look into, but the thing with that for me is the language barrier, because their country is geared to with the language of French, and then they have their their tribal languages, Madinga, Wolof, and like I said, it's due to their the tribes that are there. Besides, and Fulani, that is the language they speak, and basically, that's what goes on there. And you can have trouble with language barrier. Arabic, they speak Arabic when it comes to religion, and it comes to some of them that choose to speak the Fusha Arabic. But that's mainly the people who have knowledge, students of knowledge, and the people who are Ahlul Ilm there. So basically, and Senegal is good too. Gambia has some pros, but it has the cons, and that's the point. And the cons were not conducive for me after a certain point in time when I started learning things, and also learning how there's like a migration, a big migration that's been going on there from from America, African Americans coming there, and due to the YouTuber circuit and stuff like that, there was some issues in fitness stuff that was going on, and it's still brewing and going on. And alhamdulillah, shout out to my brother who's one of those YouTubers that he stood out of this and he tries his best, but he's Muslim, so that's understood. He knows the position. The HTC, my brother Saeed from HTC, his channel, which is the Happy Companion, channel that he has out, and he puts out other repatriation, African repatriation videos and stuff like this. But that brother is the only YouTuber that deals with those that side of dealing when it comes to making migration to Africa in a positive light. So may Allah continue to bless him in what he's trying to do, his intentions and good that he's trying to do, and put out some good quality content, and that's dealing with what's really should be going on and what we should be doing, and not the stuff that have been known to be found out that's been going on there in Gambia. I mean, Allah guide the people. And most of these people who've been doing it, and I'm not saying this on like like trying to be biased or trying to be discriminative, or what I'm saying, but these were not Muslim majority, these people who were doing this stuff. One of them was perceived to be Muslim, come to find he wasn't really. He's just uses the faith as a facade, and because he really doesn't practice it, so that person came out into the light of some scamming situation, and he was accused of scamming the people out of their money, all the stuff people trying to come abroad and go there and get people who's on the ground to help them to get into the country and buy land and start businesses and all these good things. This is good stuff, but to no avail because of the fitan, that them being we have to say it, from Islam. You're not Muslim, you can't expect to always you're gonna have success in your actions. So as far as the Muslims, we get struggles, don't get us wrong, but when it comes to us setting what we're gonna do and try to be good at doing it and making sure it's correct and pleasing to Allah, more or less, without it being a test, we're gonna get it and it's gonna be successful. But if we're not doing what Allah is pleased with, we can't expect to get what we striving for as well. Okay, so if we're sinning as a Muslim, don't expect to get what you want or get the good successful thing to go for you. If you want to buy land and do business in these countries, don't expect the success from Allah. That's all I'm going to say. So basically, that's pretty much it. All that I summed up, tried to give to you within this time. It's almost a 50-minute video. But alhamdulillah, I don't do a lot of long videos like this anyway. So you know me. But I hope that you grasp some of what I said. And again, I can expound on other countries, but go also to this brother's site and their space, the channel known as Hijrah, Make Hijrah channel, or Let's Make Hijrah, one of that. And they are very, very good with giving a lot of information and assistance in the likes of learning about different countries and people that they interview, again, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so I hope you got some benefit, and jazakumullah khairan for listening. If you have listened, hopefully there will be plenty of you that will get the gist. And like I said, don't forget to like, click the like button, share, because sharing will get it around to other brothers and sisters, and subscribe to my channel, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.